Canon just announced a big firmware update for video editors and directors alike. From autofocus improvements to enhancements in shooting log footage, we've got it all. But does this mean that the Canon EOS R5c is also due for a firmware update? Details coming up, but first, I encourage you to subscribe and choose all notifications so you're kept up to date on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. Canon just announced a firmware update for the Canon C70, and there are many enhancements here that are going to save you time that will impact your workflow from previewing log footage when shooting to saving you time in post. First off, let's take a look at the autofocus improvements. When shooting at 24 frames per second, all the way up to 120 frames per second, so whether you're doing slow motion or shooting high speed, eye detection works, face detection, and subject tracking. So autofocus works in all those frame rates from 24 up to 120 frames per second. Canon also added XFAVC codec, a lightweight codec for shooting at 60 frames per second. The bitrate is 600 megabits per second, and while this isn't a super lightweight codec, we're dealing with 4K video here, we're dealing with 60 frames per second, and this is rather significant because the improvement we get here is on a single SD card, whatever your capacity is, you're now able to record for a whole lot longer. But on the flip side, when it comes to post, you can get that content off the SD card a whole lot quicker as well. We now get the ability to enable multi-camera remote control of camera settings via the Canon RC IP100 remote controller or any other third-party XC protocol-enabled remote controller. The Canon Rec 709 profile has the same dynamic range as the wide DR profile settings, giving you an improved rich cinematic look. And this is really helpful because when it comes to post, giving you that look where you don't have to do a lot of time where it comes to color balancing and color grading, that's a really big deal. It saves an awful lot of time in post. The amount of times I spend grading Canon Log 3 on the Canon EOS R5, it's rather significant. Now, I'm complaining in a way because of the amount of time that I spend there, and I'd love to be able to reduce that. But the look that I get, it's well worth it. And that's why I love shooting with log footage. But the ability to have a Rec 709 profile that has the same wide dynamic range as the wide DR profile setting in the C70, that could potentially be a huge time saver if Canon does implement this setting properly well. So I'm really curious to know if, Mark Job, if you've had a chance to download this firmware update and what your thoughts are on this new Rec 709 profile setting. Another video editing tool, or shall I say tool to reduce the level of effort in video editing, we can now output on a Rec 709 compliant monitor when recording in Canon Log 2 or Canon Log 3. What's terrific about this enhancement is it offers a great starting point, a point where we can save time in the color grading process. And I shoot an awful lot of videos outside of this channel where I'm shooting with Canon Log 3 and I'm having to do white balancing, I'm having to do color grading. And boy, it certainly adds an awful lot of time to my workflow. But the look is amazing. I absolutely love how it helps me tell my story. So being able to reduce the amount of time during that process of color grading is a really, really big boon because, well, when it comes to your projects, most of the time you're monetizing them in some way. You're billing a client, you're putting them on YouTube or some other means of monetizing. And if you can take the amount of time for a job and reduce it without raising your rate, you're actually getting more dollar per hour, dollar per minute, dollar per mile. And that is a huge enhancement. And that's what I think is one of the biggest benefits to this new firmware update for the C70 is how it saves us time, not only in post, but as we're shooting, how we can monitor things, saving us a huge amount of time, not having to do reshoots, not having to struggle with those midtones when we're in post. Canon also allows for full communication with EF mount, flex zoom, 45 to 135, and the Cine Servo 15 to 120 lenses. Communication features include T-stop display, chromatic aberration correction, dual pixel CMOS autofocus, and dual pixel focus guide. Another nice enhancement that fixed one of those issues that was really annoying to us. So when you're switching in normal mode and you switch to either slow or fast shooting, you no longer lose your settings. And that's kind of a big deal. That one was really annoying, and it's nice to have that one fixed and off the table. Thank you, Canon, for fixing that one. Oh, and lastly, that audio 4 channel, we can now see it in the level meter display on the LCD. So yeah, it's good to see those two enhancements. They're not really bug fixes, they're just enhancements. I would put those up there on the annoyance meter, and I think the annoyance meter on the Canon C70 has really come down significantly with this update. But that begs the question that I posted in the intro. Would we see a firmware update coming to the Canon EOS R5c providing some of these enhancements? Well, the R5c is priced a little lower, and we may not see all of these enhancements, but I certainly think a firmware update for the R5c is imminent. Canon has in the past provided firmware updates in December for its very popular cameras, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a firmware update for the R5, the R6, or even the R5c. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news and rumors, whether it be firmware updates, whether it be the latest Canon cameras coming out, or rumors of Canon cameras, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, followed by choosing all notifications. By choosing all notifications, as soon as I publish a new video like this one here, you'll get notified by YouTube, so that way you can stay up to date on all the latest camera news and rumors, saving you from having to scrub all your favorite, well, Twitter feeds, RSS feeds, your favorite websites, YouTube channels, print magazines, and the lot. I cover everything here. I cover all the major brands, all the major models, news and rumors and reviews, all right here in one place. So it saves you an awful lot of time. I'm doing all the scrubbing work, so you don't have to. That's it for now. Have yourself a great weekend. Unless, of course, you see me coming out with a video tomorrow. You know what? Black Friday week is coming up, and maybe I'll put out a couple of videos talking about some of the best deals on camera gear. So look for that. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.